Hello and welcome to JROCK'S Babylon. I am JROCK Houston. I'm your host, and today we have Helena Cause, lead singer of the Spider Rockets. How are you doing today, Helena?
I'm doing great today. How are you doing?
You want to introduce everybody to your friend you were telling me about just before we went on there here?
Okay, this here is Cole, and we rescued him when he was 10 years old. He's now almost 17, but he has canine cognitive disorder, I think is what it's called. So it's like doggy dementia. And so
Uh,
at nighttime, it like hits him pretty hard. So I'm holding him for a while because he's going around in circles otherwise. So he'll tolerate me for a while like this, and then I'll put him down. But
I'm
he's
an
doing
animal
all
lover
right.
myself, and I really love dogs. I got three dogs of my own, so believe me, dogs really get me right here. But I think it's cool you're taking care of him like that, and I'm sure he's a big part of your life. I was curious, Helena. Have you ever written a song about your pal there?
Um, you know what? No, we might though,
You
because
might. Yeah.
yeah, it's like yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He probably has like subconsciously gotten into some of the lyrics or something at some point. Who
Yeah.
knows if you delve deep or something, you could probably find something about him.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody that's followed, followed the Spider Rockets or even myself, I've interviewed you before for another show I used to do, but we're talking today for J Rock's Babylon, and I'm honored to have you on. And so in the past, we've always had the band come along, and that's always cool too to do because then when you do have the whole band on, you get everybody's kind of perspective. So this is the first time I'm actually doing a solo interview with you. So that's cool too. So we can really get to know Helena today. So now, Helena, just kind of going off of what I hear when I listen to the Spider Rockets, I mean, to me, you sound like you got your own thing going. So don't get me wrong, but you sound like a kind of a female Ryan Johnson. That's kind of the vibe I get through the Spider Rockets music.
Brian Johnson, that's a great. Oh wow, we're huge AC/DC fans, so like that's like an awesome compliment. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, Dirty and Bad, which is the current album, which we're going to be talking about, that was released on Fire Rock Music Group, and we're going to talk a lot about that. That's the title track, and I kind of got this AC/DC vibe. And so, talk about who are your influences as far as you when you were growing up, the singers that influenced you.
Personally, yeah. I had this kind of weird beginning. I started out playing violin, classical violin, and I we had such a public schools in California. I grew up in California and Northern California, and we weren't rich or anything like that. We were far from it. We were the opposite. But they had such a great school program, and my mom was like huge on learning how to play music and stuff. So I tried the flute at the beginning. Maneuver that thing. I couldn't figure out how to make that thing sing in any kind of way. And the next thing was the violin, and that kind of stuck with me. And I played throughout high school. I was like a first violin in the orchestra throughout high school and stuff. And also, I was like really into believe it or not, musical theater. So I was
Wow.
totally into that, like through high school. So the beginning influences you would never think, right? It's like
Yeah, yeah. Well,
the
you know,
opposite of whatever.
you'd be surprised because anybody that's a metal fan probably knows. Years ago, I think it was like in the mid to late '80s, there was this metal violinist named Mark Wood. They had the Great Cat. If you don't know who these people are, Elena, I urge you to go on YouTube and look them up later because they for violin music. I mean, it was instrumental stuff, but it was the heavy metal version.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. That sounds awesome, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and,
There's
and
something, I
then
mean,
there's this girl that lives in Vegas. Her name is Jay Lynn.
Lizzie
She's about
Turk.
the Violution. I'll send you some of her stuff. It's really cool. She does her own original stuff, and then she also covers like Metallica and all these, Ozzy and Sabbath and all these great um, metal bands we grew up on. But
Definitely send me the link because I'm curious. That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you'd really be surprised. I mean, because even somebody like Randy Rhoads, who died tragically young, he was into a lot of more. He was much more influenced by classical music. That's my understanding. And had he lived, his plan was not even to stay with Ozzy Osbourne. He was going to go off and do his own have his own kind of classical music career. So people be surprised who's influenced by what, you know.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I remember reading something about that too, pretty recently actually. It's surprising. Yeah, things that you wouldn't think, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, like for me, like honestly, it started with that, and then I remember I went through my Janis Joplin phase. I think a lot of uh people do. And my brother, I remember he got me the box set of Janis Joplin, anything that she had like sung from like, you know, anything. And I like devoured that. And it's like I guess it's a lot of people, like everything, Janis Joplin's, Ann Wilson, Amy Winehouse,
Wow.
Lady Gaga. It's like Rob Halford. We're getting back into metal, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Classic
yeah.
metal. Um, like, believe it or not, Ivan Moody too, from Five Finger Death Punch. I love that guy's voice. And
Wow.
Maria Brink from In This Moment.
Yeah,
Um, Beautiful voice. I just love her voice. She does both, like she when she does the singing and she does the
yeah,
growling and stuff. Her singing voice is pretty awesome though. It has like that cool, kind of gravelly but
yeah.
like intimate
Sure, sure.
thing.
And got that
Yeah,
metal thing going for her, you know, hard rock, whatever you want to call it. And then Janis Joplin, I can kind of see that in you. I mean, the look, the sound. I mean, Janis is another one that kind of an amazing life story in the fact that I think she was only 27 when she died. Um,
yeah.
and yet, look at the legacy she had. Look at the great songs in that short lifespan. She was able to kind of get out there, that little bit of time, and people are still talking about her all these years later. And it's interesting you bring up Janis Joplin because I don't know if you know who Gilby Clarke is. He used to be a guitar player. It was in Guns N' Roses. On one of
Yeah.
his solo albums, this is a funny story. He did a cover of a Janis song, Mercedes Benz.
Oh yeah. All
And,
right.
and I had never heard the Janis version before that. This is what's funny about it. Great thing about people covering other people's songs. I then went and listened to the Janis version, and hers was a little more blues, kind of wasn't as hard rock, but so it was kind of interesting to taste the original Janis version.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious to hear the Gilby Clarke version now. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you could probably find that on YouTube. I'm sure that's where I seen it recently, but yeah, so and that's the great thing. It's funny. Tom Collier is the president of Fire Rock. In fact, him and I were just chatting on the phone today about an hour ago about the fact we're going to be interviewing you. And one of the things I was talking to Tom about is, Helena, when you talk to her, she's so soft spoken. But anybody who listens to the Spider Rockets or watch any of the videos or even the live performances, like when you get up on stage and you're doing your thing, you're not so soft spoken anymore. I mean, is that part of a reason? Maybe you went from being a violinist to being a front woman because you wanted to kind of, do that thing.
Mm. Your inner angst, right?
Yeah,
I mean, who knows, getting into my head and stuff, which is a dangerous place to hang out. But yeah, I imagine, yeah. I mean, there's always been that kind of like, um, I mean, everybody has like dual things in their
sure, sure,
personalities,
and
right?
that's great. That's
I
great.
have like a very like growing up like super super like studious, but also just like a really big rebellious streak too. So it's like, so it's the combination of that together, maybe.
And I
Um,
think that's why people are getting off on the Spider Rockets music because it's so authentic. You could tell somebody was kind of faking it, and you're definitely it's definitely music that comes from your heart. I can tell that.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely is. There's
and
no other way, I don't think, for us anyway to do
yeah, yeah.
it.
I've heard Alice Cooper talk about this over years. I don't know if you get that same feeling. He's talking about like the fact that he's like kind of two different people. It's like when Alice Cooper is the guy on stage, almost like
Yeah,
there's a switch that comes on, and
yes,
in my everyday
yes.
life, I'm just plain old Vince.
Hey, I think it's like because we're not all like one dimensional, right? So it's
Yeah,
like different dimensions of our personalities, and that comes out in our music, and sometimes in the way we write something or whatever, or like yeah, but to do that, to be that one-dimensional person all the time, nobody's that. I mean, like
Yeah,
none of us, like none of us human beings are, you know, uh, including well, and maybe other mammals too. Like this guy isn't just one way all the
sure.
time, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So
And so let's delve into the history of the Spider Rockets a little now. How long have you guys been together as a band?
well, we started as a duo. And Johnny and I started as a duo, and we started writing, and we were basically playing all kinds of bars and clubs in New Jersey and New York and New York City too, actually. But we were playing as a duo, and we were writing our own stuff, and we were doing like the three sets of covers, you know. Um, and then we decided, you know, like the best way to make this work is to make it turn into a full band. So we got the other members of the band on board and stuff, and we started like concentrating mostly on original music and creating original music and just kind of fine tuning our skills in that area, you know, and performing as a full band.
And
Yeah.
talk about that transition because as you say, it started out as a duo, which and you guys are basically the core, the core two, main ingredients of the band of the project, and then bringing these other band members in. Was there any right away? Did you allow them to contribute, or did that take some time to allow that?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's been kind of it's got to be everybody's in. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's all in, you know, for everybody, and that's the way we've always operated. I don't think like kind of cutting people off
No, no.
creatively works good for us, you know. Maybe it does. That's the way other people have to work or whatever, but for us it never worked that way. It was like, yeah, like throw all the ideas in and mix them up and let's see what we can come up with and stuff.
Yeah,
So it's
because
always been so I think I think sometimes getting a little bit more um it gets you out of your own little straight line of thinking a little bit sometimes too,
yeah, yeah.
you know. I think that's helpful.
And,
Yeah.
and I imagine when you allow other people come and contribute to the songs, that not only do they feel they're more of a part of it as to just working on a recording or something, but maybe, like you said, by the time the song's done being recorded, you're like, you know what? That song turned out completely different than what I originally heard it in my head, but it turned out even better.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? It's so weird because they always go through this process for us anyway. The songs, they start out with a little scratch of if it's a lyric, a melody
Yeah,
line, or a guitar riff. It's usually any of those three is what starts it off. And then it kind of evolves. And the evolution is really funny because if you listen to the early demos of certain songs and stuff, most of our songs, they're quite different from the end product, you know? And I'm sure that's the case for other people as
sure.
well. It's the evolution of the song is really interesting sometimes to hear like the beginning and then go, oh my God, this is where it ended up, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And you're no different from any other band I've ever talked to, Helena, or any other band that's out there. But in the sense that, every band that eventually kind of has their moment, they've been struggling. They've been doing it for many years. I understand you've got is it a total of 5 releases, but it was this one that's kind of your breakout album. It seems like everybody's starting to finally talk about the Spider Rockets. Talk about what that was like.
Yeah, we have I think this is our sixth album.
Okay.
And yeah, it's each time and our kind of the way we work is that like let's step it up each time. Let's learn from what we did before and kind of like um amp it up each time and use all that kind of experience and the skills and stuff and the talent to just turn it into something that like turn the next thing into something better,
Sure,
into
sure.
something so each time that's what kind of drives us. And I think that this one just is like this one we're super, super proud of because it's like you could see the progression,
Sure, sure,
and
sure.
when you go back in the back, from the previous albums and stuff, you can see the progression to this album.
And then, like
And
I said, that's the case usually with any band you're talking about. But um, the songs on this album, I was curious, any of these older songs have been laying around for a while, or were they all newly written songs?
no, they actually weren't. They're all newly written. Usually what happens with us is the ones that we dump on the sidelines
Yeah, yeah.
stay dumped on the sidelines, you know. If something doesn't work, it doesn't make the final cut or whatever, or the cut for the album or the cut for the demos and stuff, they kind of hang out there in the trash heap somewhere in the back.
Okay, yeah,
But
yeah.
so all of these are newer songs. We did have an interesting way of doing it this time though, is we started writing and um we picked the four top songs that out of the first batch of songs that we wrote,
Okay.
and we said, okay, let's record these to start with to get the process rolling with the album. And we had worked with Dan Mulch before at Soundmind Recording in Pennsylvania, and who is amazing. The guy worked on, I think he's recently done the last Ghost album. He's done the last Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh,
He's
wow.
done Fool's albums. Yeah, so the guy is amazing, incredibly talented. So we um we went back to work with him because we had worked with him on our previous album as well. And we recorded four songs. And then we just kind of sat back on them. We were like, all right, uh, let's kind of evaluate where we are with these recordings and then create the rest of the album, go from
Wow,
there.
what a great blueprint that was, I think. And you're definitely with all those other bands that he's worked with. You're in great company, I think. Another great
Yeah.
thing I always love to ask people because I know there's always a story. One of the hardest things to do is come up with the band name. Spider Rockets. The minute I heard that name, I'm like, or even heard the music, I'm like, wow, that's a cool sounding name. How did you guys come up with that?
We originally started when we were the duo, right? We
Yeah.
had the name Spider Monkeys, and there was a band in Florida that reached out to us through their manager with a cease and desist letter because their name is Spider Monkey singular.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, damn it, we had all these t-shirts printed up. That's always the way, right? You have all
Yeah.
these t-shirts printed up with the band name that you can't use. So we were like, all right, how are we going to change this up? And Johnny actually came up with, he was like, let's change it to Spider Rockets. I think that's more suited for us anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
And
definitely
so
got
we
that
switched it.
vibe. You guys got
Yeah,
that
so we switched
swagger. It's
up. It
got
was,
more pizzazz. You know what I mean? I'll tell you
yeah,
what, though. It'd be cool if you guys still had some of those T-shirts because this is a great trivia question. That'd be great collector's items, for true Spider Rocket fans. What was the original name? Here you go. This is proof. Um,
that
yeah,
would be funny, actually. I think we probably do have some you know, in the vault somewhere, wherever the vault is.
yeah, yeah.
Basement.
The vault is
Uh,
still being made.
vault,
I was, yeah,
vault is like, the vault is the basement and it probably has like a bunch of mothballs in those
yeah.
items right now. So,
Yeah, that
but
reminds
that's
me of like
okay.
I'm a huge Kiss fan. Over the years I've always heard like Gene Simmons talk about the fact, oh yes, we got all these unreleased Kiss demos in the Kiss vault. I'm like, oh, it must be huge, you know?
That's exactly where I got it. That's where I got the vault from. Yeah, I'm sure the Kiss vault is nothing like the Spider Rockets vault. The Kiss vault is probably 100 times the size
Yeah, I
and
bet.
probably has AC and like freaking uh multiple rooms and stuff. The
Yeah,
Spider
we
Rockets vault is a little creepier and more cobweb infested than
there
the
you go.
Kiss
Yeah,
vault.
yeah. Now, I was curious. Previous five releases, did you guys release those independently?
We had our own record label and we released um most of them on that label. We were signed to a label out of Europe called Locomotive Records.
Okay.
Um, and we released one album on via them, and then they kind of expanded to the United States, and then they, I guess, expanded too much, and then they shut down completely. Um, so that was kind of
Now let
a
me
bummer.
ask you: when you guys were releasing those older albums, like in your on the European label, were you getting any love from Europe? And the reason I ask is because I know a lot of the European fans are really into their hard rock and metal. In fact, in some cases, I hear, they really love their bands and support them.
Yeah, we were, I think, we're in the great growing phase, and
Yeah,
I guess each phase is a growing
yeah.
phase. So it's hard to say going back that far.
Okay,
It's
okay.
like
Yeah, we're just
each
trying to,
step we've
yeah,
been,
we're just trying
yeah,
to tell
each
this.
step,
Yeah,
yeah, has been growing and stuff. So it's like, yeah, we've gotten um some attention from European press and stuff too over the years and stuff.
oh, that's
but
cool. Yeah.
not, not like more than in the United
Yeah,
States
yeah,
or
yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe with especially with this new release on Fire Rock, maybe it'll grow, around the world. The love for the Spider Rockets. I really hope. It seems like this is a great little label you guys are on. I was curious, how did you get the current deal with Fire Rock? Did they come to you? Did you submit a package to them?
it was kind of interesting way that we kind of hooked up. We It was through a mutual friend actually, and she suggested I touch base with Tom,
Okay,
who's the president
president.
of Fire Rock and stuff.
Yeah,
And it wasn't about the label at all. She was just talking in general because, being in the same kind of, you
business.
know,
Yeah,
right, kind of, So we started, I gave him a call. We started talking and stuff, and he was talking about his band, and he was talking about the label in general and stuff. And I said, hey, that's interesting because we're in the middle of an album. It's kind of we haven't recorded the last bunch of songs, but recorded the first bunch of songs, and we're probably going to be looking for a label. And we just kind of continued the conversation, over a period of months and months actually. And we talk like regularly because, just the same interests and stuff, and just same kind of like trials that we had, like writing bands and stuff and doing what we're, with our own bands and
sure,
stuff.
sure.
Um,
I
and,
mean,
it turned out he was like, why don't you send me what you got, and let me take a listen and see, and he was enthusiastic about it. And to me, that's like a huge thing. When somebody's enthusiastic and on the same page as you are,
yeah.
that's kind of, there's nothing like that energy from enthusiasm.
It's almost like I would imagine, like, obviously these are your songs, Helena, and you get excited about, about promoting your band and stuff, and just talking about it, I'm sure, like anybody would. But to have a fellow musician, a guy that's been, in the business for 40 years, equally enthusiastic, just, after hearing your songs and talking about, that had to be a great feeling. Like, hey, maybe there's something here, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So that was really cool. And I think we just kind of connected that way. And it was just like, you know what? I think this might work,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's been a cool kind of relationship as we've been moving forward through the release and stuff, and we constantly talk anyway. We talk like probably a couple times a week or something,
yeah,
and
yeah.
go over stuff and ideas and
Yeah, yeah,
ways to
Tom's
move
a great
forward.
guy. He's really on top of things. I know with the record label.
Yeah,
Now, also while we're talking about Fire Rock, I was curious because I know that they recently launched a merchandise page for all their bands.
yeah.
Have you seen any of the beautiful Spider Rockets merchandise? I believe they got cups and hoodies and T-shirts and all kinds of things.
We do, and we actually will be sharing links for that very shortly.
Yeah,
So yes, we have to share. We have our own merchandise page, but their stuff is quite different, and it
yeah,
gives
yeah.
a lot more options than our stuff.
Yeah, I
So
seen one of the. I don't know if the Spider Rockets has this. I think they mostly have similar merchandise for all the bands, but I seen one of the bands even had like pajamas. I thought, how cool is that? For a night on tour or something. Yeah,
pajamas. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we have pajamas, but there's like gazillions of things that you
I'll
can
tell
get with the
people I
Spider
went
Man
on
community.
before we doing the interview tonight just so we could talk a little bit about it. On the Spider Rocks page, it said it had like 99 items right now, so that's pretty good, I think. Start.
Yeah, so we'll be sharing that and kind of promoting that as well. So that's another thing that we have to kind of put out there and let people know about, because it's kind of fun. I mean, if there are like different things than you can usually get at shows and stuff, it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I mean,
more of a,
yeah.
it's
The,
like
the
from mugs to like freaking who knows what. There's like like you said, 99 or 97 items or something. That's
I
a
mean,
lot of stuff.
it really blew my mind, Helena. When Tom was sharing this with me, oh yeah, go check out, we've got merchandise pages up for the different bands now, and like you said, you expect to see T-shirts and maybe hoodies and a hat, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe all of this other stuff they have that you wouldn't really think. They have water bottles, there's all kinds of things with the band's name and pictures and stuff. Yeah.
You know what's so funny with that kind of stuff? I love, I remember going, there's this here in New Jersey, we have a record store in Red Bank, and I remember that they would give away some of the like giveaway merchandise stuff that like comes with bands like releasing a new album or something. There was like a mouse pad for and I still have it actually. I still use it for system.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah. I'm jealous. I'm jealous you got a record store in your town. I mean, I live in beautiful Long Beach, California, 45 minutes away from Hollywood, and that's where you got to go. Hollywood's like the closest record store. And can you
right.
believe what?
Ours is about 20 minutes away. So it's like it's
Yeah,
not like
yeah.
walking distance or anything. Yeah.
Although I do hear that not I do hear vinyl's making a serious comeback and maybe even CD. We'll see.
Yeah, who knows, man? I think it's awesome. I think they're great for collectors things anyways,
Yeah,
because it's like you get between the artwork and the everything and
yeah. I
and
still buy
listening to
these.
something
I
that's
still buy these
I
physical
see.
copy, like it's a CD. Um, Alice Cooper, School's Out, but I love this stuff. Love, like you said, love to look at the artwork. It's just beautiful. Love to hold it in my
Yeah,
hand.
man, we'll send you a signed copy of our CD too, because it's like, it's I always think that they're great things to have. It's like we have I've got I have like them right in this
That's
room
all right.
actually.
That's all right. Yeah, yeah.
Zillions of CDs, gazillions of CDs like from so many different bands and stuff.
And
And
so, yeah, wow. So, it's been great chat with you today, Helena. Before I let you go, though, we have to ask, of course, what's next for the Spider Rockets? Is their new album coming next year? You start getting to work, or what's going on?
working on new music. We have another single coming out soon, and we'll be having a video come out with that.
Okay.
Um, we are actively working on live opportunities, so keep an eye out for that. The best way to stay in touch with us and stay on top of everything is to go to our website, spiderrockets.com. And all the social links are there. You could sign up on the mailing list. You could check out the videos, check out the merchandise too, and and everything else. So it's like that's the first stop that we always tell people to go to. And
Okay. And I know this is a hard question, Helena, because I'm sure they're all like your children. But if you had to pick one or two songs off the latest album, there one that really is near and dear to you or special?
I think one that I really like playing live, and I just kind of always has a I have a like a lot, I guess, is Casual Violence. That's
Oh,
probably the one that kind of impacts me the most, I guess. But it always changes, so
let me
who
ask,
knows
was
next.
Casual Violence, that's one of my favorite tracks. And I believe there was a video for it I saw. Um, was that at all influenced by like domestic violence or anything like that? Just violence in general?
Violence in general, but not domestic violence,
Okay.
no. I think it just sometimes that song I think was more influenced by the casual way we can be cruel to each other,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's what that's more about than it is, but definitely not domestic
Yeah,
violence. That's
I
not.
mean, the world is becoming a strange world. I heard a story just this morning on my way to work on the radio about these people, if you can believe it, suing Chat GPT because
Yeah,
it gave a teenager instructions on how to kill himself. Sad, I mean, but it's sad what people are turning to.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
pretty awful
yeah,
actually.
yeah. On an upper note, let's end this on a high note. Um, as far as playing out live, I was curious. Have you just pretty much played in your local area? Have you got a chance to go all over?
We we've been really lucky. We've been on tour in the United States before. We've done shows outside of the United States as well. We've been on some festival things too. So we did some dates on the Warped Tour. Oh, I'm sorry.
I seen
Sorry,
that.
bud.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we did a festival in Germany. We've toured all over the United States. We've toured with Puddle of Mud. We've toured with Saliva, um, Framing Hanley, Pop Evil. I mean, we've been really, really, and each opportunity is that it's like a privilege to be able to do it.
And I love
And
that. I love that, all over the world. I mean, the Spider Rock is starting to make some serious noise. And it proves that while people may see you as a hard rock band or whatever, a rock band with some kick and edge, an edge. It's interesting that you could play with all those different types of bands.
I mean, the thing about us, I mean, we're a riff-oriented rock band, but we have like our influences are kind of
All over the
we're from
place. Yeah.
yeah, they're really yeah. I mean, it kind of we could we just did a tour a couple of years ago with OTAP. We've played with Pop Evil before, Puddle of Mud. So there's just we draw from rock, from metal, from punk. You know, it just all of those things kind of
And
influence
there's
our
a punk
sound.
element to even what you guys do. I really didn't think about that till you said that. But if anybody's looking for kind of a way to describe this, I'd say this. People are going to be laughing, but a cross between AC/DC and Led Zeppelin.
Cool, yeah. I think those are two huge influences too. So I think yeah, so you've nailed some of the classic rock influences in our sound for sure. Yeah.
Well, Helena, it's been great getting to know you personally. Just doing this solo interview today, and we'll have you back maybe with other guys in the band next time. However you want to do it, but it's always great
We'd
talking
love
about
to
the Spider
actually.
Rockets, and you and I are friends on Facebook. So later today, I will send you some samples of those metal violinists I was telling you about at the top of the interview, just for you to check it out. And the interview we doing today, I'm going to get it up later today. So as soon as I get it up, I'll send you the link, and you're more than welcome to share it. Okay?
Sounds fantastic, Jay. Thank you so much for having me, and we look forward to being on one of your shows as a band next time.
Oh, you will.
So,
You will definitely. Take care. You have a great day. Thanks so much.
okay, thank you so much, Jay.
Bye bye.
Bye.